Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Low Power Mode podcast. I'm your host, Breezy, and let's get into it.
I got an excess of black bile, high irascibility, contemplating checking myself into facility, mental ability clearly affected,
Deep in the dumps, down and dejected.
I've been in low power mode. In low power mode. Been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear. I've been in low. I've been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear.
All right, so I must apologize for the delay. However, things have been so crazy. My life has been so all over the place, just bouncing around from East Coast to Germany to West Coast. And I'm currently on a trip where I should actually fill you in. I never really wanted people to know that I was leaving Berlin because I was working on this About Me music video that was funded by an organization where you had to live in Berlin. So I felt the need to kind of be under wraps when I came to California. But after the summer tour, in the fall shoot for the music video and everything, like my health has not been good. So I moved back to California. My mom and I found a place. We drove across, found a place in the Bay Area, and then my brother just had a baby, and so we drove last Friday to this past Friday. We drove across the country, and we've been here for a couple days, and then on Monday we head back across the country, and we wanted to see the baby, but we also wanted to get the rest of our stuff and fully move to California. So it's crazy and exciting and busy and really hard because I need quiet time and downtime and stuff I'm not getting. But I think this is fun. I think it's cool, good practice to be doing the podcast on the road. Right now I'm at my aunt's house in Maine. It's nice and cozy up here, and the house is all creaky, and the room I'm recording in has a slanted wall, which is really good for recording because then you don't get as many reflections. I don't know. So if it sounds a little different, if it feels a little different, that's because I'm on the road, and this episode is also going to be shorter because I literally have to get back on the road. So, but I wanted to check in. I wanted to say hi, and I do want to deliver each week. So you may have to have some leeway with me in terms of date and time that this podcast gets released, but I'm doing it. We out here. So let's get it kicked off with the music. Music. All right. So for the music section, for this particular episode of the Low Power Mode podcast with me, Breezy, this is actually our 6th episode. So yes, getting it done. So, Issa Rae, who I talked about on a former podcast, her Audio Everywhere company, The Radio, did a little contest, and essentially they offered a cash prize plus a distribution deal. So you could submit 2 songs as an artist, and if they choose you, then you get guaranteed placement on, for instance, commercials or TV or film, in addition to a cash prize. So I'm currently, formerly I'm self-employed, but I'm not paying the bills. And so I I was super eager to apply to this. And so I had something sitting on my computer. And then a couple days before our trip, I was like, okay, if I just write up a song, lay down the vocals, then I can mix it on the road and send it in before the contest closes. So this was insane because even with my album, it was a tight timeline, but I was there was some consistency where this was like so on the road, and I'm really proud of myself for pushing through and getting this done in time, but also forcing myself to do a song that where I don't hyper focus on every single minute detail and just get it out, because sometimes that's the best shit. Sometimes the cheapest shit, the quickest shit, the shit you think the less about is the stuff that really works. So I want to play this song for you. And it part of the contract was that, or part of the deal is that the music that you send to the contest is unreleased. So not only is this music not released, but besides Queen Dennis, shout out Dennis, and my mom, Queen Mom, you're the only people to have ever heard this. So yeah, that's exciting for me to share. And here it goes. Hey, whoa. Whoa, yeah. You ready? Don't you know I want it? Yeah. Don't you know I tried? Don't you know it's killing me? I don't wanna say goodbye. Yeah. I gave you my light. You gave me a ride. Baby, you leaving me with no choice but to say goodbye. Hey yo, I'm searching for the RESPECT. Plenty of room for you, now please let me be me. Backpack full of bricks, but I'm still breezy. Diplomatic Libra, let's all take it easy. Arrow with the purple crayon, drawing up my boundaries. Building up protection, so I'm working with the foundries. Lounging, creativity, never scrounging. I be on the block with a blunt pound G. How do you show folks their privilege without victimizing yourself? How are you hurt by your loved ones and then put it up on a shelf? Am I selfish for wanting them healthy relationships? Am I being fair or am I just being a bitch? Already sick of teaching people how to treat me. Why it be taking so much effort just to be me? Instead of leave me, peeve me, mistreat me, all I want is for my people to see me. Don't you know I want it? Yeah. Don't you know I tried? Don't you know it's killing me? I don't wanna say goodbye. I gave you my light. You gave me your pride. Baby, you leaving me with no choice but to say goodbye. Say goodbye. Goodbye. Got no choice but to say goodbye. Say, just to me. All right, cool. So feel free to send me messages on Patreon. Honestly, Instagram is the hardest place to contact me. It's not because I never go on there. I feel like I have to go on there and keep up a presence on there because we all have to do that as independent artists. We need for people to know about our stuff. So the social networks, Facebook, Instagram, help a lot with that. But in terms of actually engaging, it's really tough for me because I'm not an extroverted personality. I like to be present when I'm responding. And that's so difficult on Instagram because it's overwhelming to me. So I highly recommend, if you want to, reach out, message me through Patreon. I would love that. And yeah, if you have anything to say about the new song or whatever, hit me up. Hit me up. Let me know what you think. I, as you know, was going through this huge Janet phase, and I wanted something like R&B, or like what do they call it? New Jack City, like this super slow beats per minute and super 90s sounding thing. And so yeah, I threw together a few stems of like drums, some electronic, like this the sound in Bye, it reminds me of the sound in Creep. It's like like that sound. Love it. So yeah, this was really, like, I really rushed through this one. but I love it. I love it. It's getting stuck in my head too, which is such a weird thing when it's you. But yeah, totally inspired by Janet. Tried to do a little bit more when it came to the ad lib vocal harmonies and like little extra bits. Tried to be a little bit more a little bit more like a vocalist, but not one that takes themselves super seriously. And it was fun. It was really fun. So I hope you enjoy this song. And due to the interest of time, I'm going to move on. Television. All right, welcome back to Low Power Mode with Breezy. This is the TV section, and I want to give you something new to me. I want to give you a check-in on the Euphoria finale, and I want to give you a RuPaul's Drag Race check-in. So the new thing that I want to talk about, which is not a new thing, it's been out for a while, but it's a little web series. I love a web series because I think it is the most organic and authentic shit that comes from artists. It's before the money, and that's the fun part for me and where I'm at right now. And I love it. I love it. So so I was listening to What's the Tea podcast, which is the RuPaul and Michelle Visage podcast, and it's super fun because they have on drag queens, they have on actresses, they have on comedians, all like mostly like women or femme men. So it's really nice because it just feels like a queer sort of fresh air with Terry Gross kind of situation. But they're ridiculous in the jokes, and it's also hysterical. So it's been a pleasure to listen to on our ride. And they were interviewing Shangela, who, even if you don't watch Drag Race, definitely look up some Shangela. I'm going to talk about the We're Here show on my podcast. It's on HBO, but it's incredible. Shangela, Bob the Drag Queen, and Eureka. But Shangela is just a badass performer, someone who's like, I'm ready, like, let's go. She's got this amazing energy, and she became friends with Jenifer Lewis in the most random ass way. So if you don't know Jenifer Lewis, she plays Andre Johnson's mother, Ruby, on Blackish. She was in a film called Jackie is Back that I'm dying to see because I've heard so much about it. And definitely one of these Black folks who you've seen before because she's been in so much and she's been around for so long. And there are only so many roles for Black folks. So you know Jenifer Lewis. If you don't, look her up, get a visual, watch something. She's amazing. But what's so I think this is so special. Okay, so they did a little web series called Jenifer Lewis and Shangela, and it's about their whole relationship. And the web series is 4 episodes, and the episodes are all under 10 minutes. So this is not a commitment. This is a, oh my God, did this actually really happen type of thing. So, so here's the story. Shanji goes to New York and goes to the Shakespeare in the Park, where Jenifer Lewis is performing with Meryl Streep. And Shangela runs up to her after the show, saying, I'm your biggest fan, I'm your biggest fan. And Jenifer Lewis is like, prove it. What are some of my lines? Shangela recites like all of Jackie's Back to Jenifer Lewis. And Jenifer Lewis is like, I need an assistant. Would you move to LA? And Shangela's like, of friggin' course. So Shangela moves to LA and lives in Jenifer Lewis's pool house, which she calls the basement, which is so Jenifer Lewis. And so they actually did this. Like, Shangela worked as Jenifer Lewis's assistant. And yes, they were there's a companionship, but also Shangela mentions on the RuPaul podcast that there was a Christmas party, and the first time Shangela, whose boy name is DJ, ever met RuPaul was when Jenifer Lewis asked him to valet the cars for her Christmas party. So, he's definitely working. But their relationship is so cute and fun and funny and so in the web series, because I would never say this about Jenifer Lewis, but like washed up, like older Hollywood star and the young gun who's like got everyone paying attention to them on the internet. So this web series is so funny. I'm not gonna like give shit away, but it's just for me, it's that someone of her caliber, I don't know if that's randomly the word that comes to mind, would do this makes my heart sing, because it's not for anything other than having fun for her, having fun for Shangela as well, like them having fun together, and then also the fans having fun with it. And it's just ridiculous. Jenifer Lewis sings the theme song, and the theme song is the story about how they met, and the dynamic is it's so funny. And you can tell Jenifer Lewis is like a seasoned actress who's amazing in carrying it, and Shangela is kind of like there and doing her part, but she's just not as developed as an actor yet. But that makes it even more funny. J. Lou is just like going all out, and Shangela is keeping up and keeping her cool. And I don't know, I feel like I'm just telling you it's funny, but yeah, it's something easy and light and coming from like pure goodness of the. And I was surprised too, because like for me, the giveaway is always the sound with these web series. The sound is always so terrible and noticeable for me as an audio engineer. So but this little web series had an actual an actual crew. Like there was a full crew. And I loved that. Yes, I love when people go all out for any type of project, no matter what the funding is. That just really gets me. So there's Jenifer Lewis and Shangela. on a YouTube near you, not hard to find, and just a blast if you are into these wonderful people, these queens. I'm gonna say these queens. Okay, moving on. The Euphoria finale. We have to talk about it because let me just check the time here. Okay, we're okay. So we have to talk about it because, oh my God. Okay, so they did essentially a 2-part finale because these 2 final episodes took place in the same theme, the same sort of period of time, like the same evening. And the way that they decided to do it was they said, why don't we have the characters put on a play? And so there will be this play that symbolizes what the characters have been through, you know, the heightened versions of their ups and downs. And of course, with like amazing dance numbers and that sort of stuff. And it allows for the characters to see themselves, because we don't often get that. We don't often get a character being able to step outside of themselves and see what's going on. And when it comes to addiction, when it comes to narcissism, when it comes to really tough stuff that we do to try to deal with the human experience, it's really hard to undo that stuff. It's really hard to bring yourself out of it. So the way that the show approached the finale was brilliant. And all along the show, the character Lexi, she's finding her voice, and she's like, I want to put on this play. So it was phenomenal. I again, like, I don't want to let myself go too deep in, because otherwise my mom will be like honking from the car, and I'll be like, and then, but Euphoria has a way of stepping outside of itself, going into that brainstorm cloud, being like, how can we portray these highly developed emotions, these highly developed concepts, these psychological things, addiction? There's so many deep themes that are going on in the show. Now, of course, they make it aesthetically stunning, but that doesn't take away from the story that's happening and how it's being told. So using the play as a device to show the characters themselves, it's brilliant. Okay, so then in the first part of the finale, so the penultimate episode, they do a dance number that is so amazing. I heard there was some flack after, but I watched it I ran it back a few times. I was like, this is so brilliant. So basically, Ryan Heffington, who's a choreographer, super gay, who has worked on RuPaul's Drag Race with the Queens a bunch, he choreographed the Euphoria high school play, and he did an amazing job. But the one number, so it's I Need a Hero, like this 80s song. And so he dresses up all the football guys in these gold football pads, just they're shirtless, but they have shiny gold pants. And this scene is like they're all working out together, but their working out is super sexual. Like they're like fake humping each other and stuff. It's so amazing. Oh my God, there's a punching bag that comes down as this phallic thing. At one point, they do this cum shot from the hand that's like this glittery foil that comes from all the guys' hands. It's hysterical. One, you're making fun of the fact that these are horny ass boys. I mean, come on, we're those middle school, high school years, that's where your sexuality develops, your sense of sexuality develops. So it's hilarious to because I feel like society wants to separate those things, football, men, da, 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 and then like sexuality, but it's, yeah, working out. I mean, come on, it's hilarious. And so the fact that they did that, the fact that they take a toxic, patriarchal culture, you know how much I hate the NFL, not football, the NFL, how they take that, flip it on its head, and make it super gay and super fun, and you know, they had this, like, even make, like, you know, if you tell a little kid to make a muscle, you know, and they'll do that, like using that element in the choreography, like in this very dancey way. It was so good. I'm such a nerd for choreography and music and like a music video or like a music performance. And this was so good. Also, Ethan, who's been a side character, the boyfriend of Kat, who's also kind of a side character, plays all the roles in this high school play. He plays the Cassie and Lexi's mom. He plays, it's hysterical. Like, I just thought it was fun. I thought it was so much fun. The drag elements of it, the gayness of it. And here's where we take a high school show and we're saying, okay, we're incorporating queerness, but we're not saying we're queer. It's all embedded within, in this choreography and this whole play and how Ethan played a bunch of the different characters. This is what happens when you start to erase those lines, those boundaries from what queer is and like the normal human experience. It's like all very queer. You just don't see it that way until you see it that way. So the Euphoria finale slayed me. Oh my God. I can't wait to rewatch the whole thing from season 1, episode 1, all the way through season 2 finale. Okay, and in the interest of time, I'm going to talk quickly about RuPaul's Drag Race. So we got episode 9. So there's been some crazy controversial decisions. There was one episode that the Queen Georges won, and she was fierce, but did she earn it? It was questionable, but we know RuPaul likes to kind of empower the girls, and especially the ones who are like, I don't feel like I deserve to be here. He loves to take those by the neck and be like, you're here, I chose you. So yeah, it's been interesting. I feel like up until this point, I've been able to say, okay, this is what's going to happen after that lip sync. He's going to choose this queen to stay and this queen to go, or these are going to be the top queens. And it's been very interesting. I've been very surprised. I haven't been as aligned. And also it's been a wonky season because Cornbread had to go because of an injury. And they already have this chocolate bar where if they get the golden wrapping, then you get to stay. But since Cornbread left too soon, there has already been a week where 2 queens stayed when one of them could have gone. So it feels like, I don't know, it feels very weird this season. But what was super exciting is in this last episode. So the songs also, I feel like in the past, there's been some really great ones. In the past couple seasons, it's like, yeah, there's been some great songs, but they did Something's Got a Hold on Me by Etta James. So I don't know what that licensing looked like behind the scenes, but this song was incredible for Drag Race lip sync, and the queens turned it out. They both did. It was so exciting. I watched it like 3 times. It was amazing. Yeah. And then they both got to stay. So really interesting. We get Snatch Game next, which is my mom's favorite because they dress up like a character and you have to come with it's like the old match game, but it's Snatch Game. So that'll be a blast. And the queens are really so interesting this season. So cool to examine and see what's happening there. So Drag Race is really popping off. I think when we get back to the Bay Area, we're gonna go do a viewing party. I think, with the masks and everything, it'll be okay. All right, so I'm gonna. This is hard to rush, but I'm gonna cut it off here, and we're gonna go to film. Movies, film. All right, so welcome back to Low Power Mode with Breezy. I feel like maybe I shouldn't say it every single time because you're not actually getting a break. So you're hearing me say, all right, let's move on to the next thing. And then it's like as if you haven't been here. But then I guess, I don't know, if someone walks into the room, it's good for them to hear which podcast it is. Still working out these tweaks. So I was kind of oh no, I don't really have time to do a full movie. So what do I do? Went on Netflix for the first time in a while. And I gotta say, there's definitely some shows that I know I need to watch, like that people have told me about and I know are good quality. But there's some stuff that I see that I'm like, I feel like Netflix doesn't have a direction, like an overall creative direction. They're just like, we're diverse and looking for creators, and some of the stuff on Netflix is incredible, but some stuff lately that I've dabbled in, or it's just been bad, and I'm like, is this the Netflix production studio? Like, what's going on here? Trying not to name any names, but yeah, Reinventing Anna. Oh my God, what was the accent? Anyway, so I find a bunch of short films on Netflix, and I'm like, perfect. Short film is perfect because I can watch it twice, even in limited time, and I can see what's what. So oh my God. Okay, so I found this short film, and of course it's International Women's Month, which I didn't even really internalize that until like a couple of years ago. I don't know. Apparently in 87, Women's Month became a thing, but like I feel like I've only been aware of it since the Women's March of like 2016. So I don't know. If you holler if you hear me. Okay, so I chose one. I chose one called Heart Shot. It's uncomfortable for me to even speak the title. Heart Shot. Heart Shot. Heart Shot. Heart Shot. Not a phonetically easy title. And it was exciting and alluring to me because there are two characters of color. One of the main characters is a black young woman, and the two main characters are lesbians, and it's written by a woman. It's directed by a woman. I was like, okay, this is hitting all my bases, So I watched it, and oh my God, okay. When I first saw the font, I was like, oh my God, I'm excited. This looks great. This looks like it's going to be amazing. Short, but pack a punch. And because the font was all like creepy and blue and interesting. And then we kind of enter into this. I'm not going to give too much plot. I'm going to tell you how it could be better. So first of all, you've got like a more femme character, and you've got a more butch character. And the more butch character, there's, they're dating each other. And the more butch character's name is Nikki, and the more femme character's name is Sam. Now, interesting. I think I would have gone with the butch character being Sam and the femme character being Nikki, and I kept like confusing their names. So maybe that's just my personal preference. you can watch it and tell me what you think. So it starts off and it's good, and it's like, okay, the mom and the daughter going away. Dad is kind of out of the picture. We don't even see the daughter, but we hear her voice. There's a meet of some kind. We don't know where we are. And so, and yeah, and the let me get this straight. Nikki, the butch one, she is tight on cash, so she bumps into this guy at the grocery store, kind of like takes cash from his wallet and turns it into the grocery store, grabs something to eat, and then we see that she's packing a gun. So there's some elements. There's a build, and then they're not supposed to, it's like kind of, because they're gay, I guess it's like hard for them to get time together, which is understandable. So the fact that Sam's mom is gone means that Nikki's going to go over. So Nikki goes over, hangs out with her, but there's like some dark part of Nikki's past that we're not getting filled in on. And as she spends more time with Sam, it's clear that she's very insecure around her family and what's going on there, and kind of like escaping in this relationship with Sam, who really loves Nikki. So they love each other, whatever. And then Nikki is writing a letter the next morning to Sam being like, because also Sam said, I love you, and she didn't say I love you back. And there's this whole like, you should come with me to Nashville. We still don't know where we are, but you should come with me to Nashville. When I go to school, you can get a job. Like, okay, so Nikki writes this letter, I do love you, but like, I can't see you. I'll come find you when it's safe or whatever. So Nikki's leaving, goes to get her bike, and then these guys roll up, like hitmen roll up and start shooting at her. So what's cool is the stunts, and it's cool to see a young woman who can handle a gun and take out like 4 dudes by herself. But then we look at the window, and then Sam is standing there, mouth agape, and then we see her being taken by someone. So Nikki goes in, sees what's going on, and then the sister, her older sister, is there, and she's like holding a gun to Sam's head. Now, there were so many things from here that lost me. First of all, the sister is super white looking, dirty blonde hair, very femme, very very like quintessential pretty violent older sister. And it's like, we don't know why. There's no why. And then with the mother as well, we know that their mother, there was some story about Nikki as a kid racing her sister, and then she wanted to win, so she threw a rock at her sister, and then the mother was happy that she did that, and Nikki was proud of herself. And so like, okay, the mother is super toxic or deranged, or we don't know what's going on, and we never get those answers. So the older sister comes with like 5 hitmen to the house and wants to take Sam away from Nikki. Why? Because she also says, the older sister, she's like, Mom said not to kill you, but to rough you up or whatever. So we have no idea what's going. It just makes no sense, because we have no reason. We don't have a reason enough to invest in what's going on. Now, if the mother was pissed that Nikki was a lesbian and sent the older sister to like knock some sense into her, that would make sense. If the mother and sister were pissed that Nikki tried to run off and do her own thing when they needed her to work for the family business, that would have made sense. But there was no story line that I could follow with this film. And it really disappointed me, because I'm out here I want to support women. I want to support queers. I want to support BIPOC folks. I want to support breaking down stereotypes. I want to see different people in these roles, right? But when you don't have the story, it really, yeah, it was really tough. And I just felt like, what a disappointment. And then come to find out, Marielle Woods, she's a stunt coordinator, and she's really into the stunts and stuff, and has done action films. Lauren Ludwig is a queer writer. But what I saw, what I found, what I caught in the credits was Marielle Woods directed. Marielle and Lauren wrote it together. But then for story, it had both of their names. And I thought, there's your mistake. You needed a story editor. You needed to bring one more person in to give you not just script, not just how it's going to look visually, but what the fuck is going on. So I know normally this section is not a read, but wow. I want to separate representation from using characters for diversity effect and then not incorporating the realities of their experience into the story. Not the script, the story. Oh God, this is hard to do this so quickly, but I'm going to leave it here with this. Oh my God, I have so much to say, but yeah, again, motivating. It's motivating for me because I'm like, I feel like anyone can make the visual component, anyone can cast diverse characters, but you got to say something. And this to me said nothing. It took something we've seen a million times before and replaced it with quote unquote diverse characters. So, a bit of a little, shame on you slap, but love to see women out here doing it. Complicated. All right, I'm going to close it out. See you in a minute. Hey, listen, sometimes you gotta check in with yourself.
Check in with yourself.
Okay, hi. Breezy here with the Low Power Mode podcast. We're going to close it out with boundaries, with a quick note on boundaries. I want to say, as someone who's been socialized as a woman, someone who is naturally generous and giving, these things have really harmed me because they've made me focus on other people instead of focusing on myself. So lately, through BetterHelp, which I can definitely recommend, this is not an ad, but I found a therapist through BetterHelp, and it's helping me so much. Highly recommend. Cheaper than your private therapist. And she's been telling me about boundaries, and I think it can be clear how to set them and really tough to stick to your, where does that expression come from? Stick to your guns. What does that even mean? But it can be really tough to enforce boundaries after you draw them. And I think, because we don't have much time, I just want to say, if you're in the process of drawing a boundary, which is to say, this is not how I want to be treated. But you love that person, or you have a relationship or past history or something like this, and it's tough for you to not go back on your boundary. I feel you. I really feel you. And I send you power. I'm doing it, but it's so hard. So, yeah. And if you need boundaries, if you're someone who you feel like the world feels unsafe to you and you need to draw some boundaries, give it a Google, because the concepts of boundaries is so life-changing, and it goes against what we're taught in the States in terms of how to be, how to live, how to behave. All right, that's all I have for you this week. Sending you so much love. Happy International Women's Month. Beyond loving women, respect them, listen to them, pay attention to them. And until next time, see ya.
I've been in low power mode. In low power mode. Been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear. I've been in low. I've been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear.